Welcome to Money Smart Week with AARP. We are happy you decided to join us today. I'm going to turn over today's presentation to Ms. Robinson from AARP. You can go ahead and take it away, Ms. Robinson.
Thank you, and good afternoon, everyone. Again, I am Shartae Robinson, the Associate State Director for AARP in Northern Illinois. It is a pleasure to share this information with you all. Feel free to put questions in the chat, and then we'll go through the presentation, and if there are any questions, I'm happy to answer at the best of my ability. Next slide, please. So I must share this disclaimer with you all. So this session is intended to be informational and educational and does not constitute tax or legal advice. We strongly recommend that you seek the advice of a legal and financial services professional before making decisions related to any investment or other financial decisions. AARP is not responsible for the consequences of any decisions or actions taken in reliance upon or as a result of the information provided during this event. Next slide. So who is AARP? AARP is the nation's largest nonpartisan, non-for-profit organization that's dedicated to empowering people to choose how they live as they age. We offer membership benefits to anyone age 50 or over. I also like to note that oftentimes we say 50 plus, but we want to encourage young people in their 30s and 40s to engage with and become members of AARP, because as we talk about things in this presentation, you can prepare yourselves now if you're in your 30s in preparation for retirement that could happen after 55 or 62 or 67. Next slide, please. So I just wanted to share the basic fundamentals of AARP. Our focus areas are better health, livable communities, consumer rights and protections, volunteer engagement, and financial literacy. Next slide. I'd also like to encourage any of you who have time to engage with us for volunteering activities. We do service events in our communities on the south and west sides of Chicago and all over Chicago, as a matter of fact. We have an advocacy volunteer corps where there are some volunteers who go to Springfield and are an advocate for issues that are related to the 50 plus community. And so if you are interested, feel free to email my colleague, Ellen, forgive me, and making sure that you submit your information and we can follow up with areas of interest that are to you where volunteering is concerned. Next slide. So in this presentation, I hope to help you find out what changes you can make today to help secure your future. We're going to identify 6 financial health and wellness things that you can do in order to make an informed decision, be more involved with decision making about your financial health and wellness. We'll talk about your monthly cash flow, Social Security benefits, retirement savings, the value of your credit score, debt to income ratio, and then finally the highest interest rate on your of your debt. Next slide, please. So number 1 is your monthly cash flow. So this is the single most important number you need to know, according to most experts that we've consulted. With one look, you can see whether you're living within your means or are financially stable. How do you find it? First, you want to calculate all the money coming into your household by adding up your monthly income from working and other resources such as investments, residual income. And then secondly, you want to figure out what your cash flow outflow is by listing your monthly expenses. You want to do so with your monthly expenses. That's including housing, healthcare, food, debt, payments, and more. You want to review your bank account so you can see what's going out, and then also your credit card bills, your financial statements. And that task will be easier when you have that information in front of you. Then you'll subtract your expenses from income to get that final figure. So, what do we do with it? If that number is negative, you're spending more than you make. You'll know exactly how many dollars you'll need every month to stop that slide once you do a monthly cash flow assessment. Next slide, please. So secondly is Social Security benefit. Why do we need it? So more than half of our older Americans receive at least 50% of their income from Social Security. An estimate of the number now will let you know what you need to expect later. How do I find it? So you can sign up for My Social Security, an account at My Social Security, and that's at www.ssa.gov/my account. That way you can have a fair assessment of where you are financially with Social Security, and then choosing at what dates that you may want to retire. Again, what do we do with it? Knowing how much you'd receive at different stages and dates of your life. So if you choose to retire at 55, what is that number? If you choose to retire at 62 or 67. So it'll give you that algorithm, that telephone number, that'll give you that number so you can have a better sense of what benefits through Social Security would be available to you at those specific age types. Next slide. So then retirement savings. So if you supplement your Social Security income in any pension that you're due, this is where that money will come from. How do you find it? You add up the value of any retirement savings and investment accounts you might have. And again, what do we do with it? You want to divide that amount by 25. If you're in your 60s and quitting work today, that's roughly how much you could safely withdraw from savings in your first year of retirement. Then you want to add that number to what you get annually from Social Security and other resources. So would that be enough to support the life you prefer? I'm just going to sit that there for a second because it's a lot of work that we need to do in order to prepare for our retirement. And we know what the number is we would enjoy having in our checking account and savings account so that we can have a whole healthy life after retirement. Next slide, please. So your credit score. So taking the steps to improve it can give you access to better long terms and give you access to other resources as well. How do we find it? You can get a free copy of your credit score from several sources: Credit Karma, Credit Sesame, and from other credit card companies as well as banks. So what do we do with it? If your FICO score is below 760, you'll want to take steps to improve that to get the best lending rates. Your FICO score, which ranges from 300 to 850, are commonly used as an estimate of how likely you are to repay a debt. They are calculated based on your credit report, which shows your borrowing history, late payments, and current balances. So to boost your score, you want to start by paying your bills on time. The most important factor in determining your score is that you want to make sure your utilization rate, a credit card balance compared with the limit on that card is a key factor. You want to keep your credit balance below 30% of each card credit limit, or even lower if you're about to apply for a loan. Okay. Next slide, please. So your debt to income ratio. Why do we need it? It's crucial for getting a mortgage and even more so for your peace of mind. How do we find it? You want to add up your monthly debt payments and divide this by your monthly gross income. your income before taxes and other deductions. The lower your debt to income ratio, the longer you can make it without a job or stretch your retirement assets. So most retirees will feel most comfortable going into retirement without debt because that's a fixed expense you have hanging over your head. There's this psychological aspect. If it helps you to sleep at night, you may want to pay it off. Next slide, please. And then finally, the highest interest rate on your debt. The loan you owe with the highest interest rate is one that's actually causing you the most financial pain. Look at your latest statements or loan or origination documents. When you're trying to dig out of debt, directing extra cash to your highest rate debt will give you the biggest immediate return. Here's a quick tip. The most likely candidates are any credit card debt, vehicle title loans, or payday loans. So we want to make sure that we look at all six of these ways in which we can make decisions, we can change things today, and we can decide on if we want to talk with the financial advisor. If there are some things you can do at home, sitting at the kitchen table. If you want to consult using my SSA, my Social Security, so you can get a sense today of what your Social Security funds that are available, and then planning out when you like to retire. Again, is it 55? Is it 62, 67? Next slide. I wanted to share this with you about Social Security. I'm sure that in the news you have heard about things that have occurred in Congress, the conversations from lawmakers about the status of or the state of Social Security. We have taken this on as an issue at AARP. And so I wanted to share with you these 4 points that had been shared by our president and CEO, Joanne Jenkins, with AARP. And I won't read all through it, and the link is there where you can read the entire information that she shared via LinkedIn. But this was a call to duty, if you will, making sure that community understood that we are in support of the longevity of Social Security. We've worked very, very hard to earn this. And when we decide to retire, we should have the level of comfort that these funds will be available to us when we choose to access them. Next slide, please. So again, I wanted to share our 2023 Savings and Planning Outreach and Education Plan. This month, we've started our financial literacy series where we've been doing community and coffee and conversations in the community, participating in this webinar. We also have a partnership with Chicago Sky, where we will be participating in their Beyond Basketball initiative. AARP and Illinois State University, there's a collaboration where we want to educate young people, students, college students on the value of Social Security, but then also the value of planning and understanding what the FICO score is, understanding how to manage credit, their credit report and their credit number. And then finally, we'll be doing a fall summit and doing some convenings, either both virtually and also in person. I've already talked about our commitment to Social Security, but I also wanted to share with you that AARP, again, worked with lawmakers to help with the support of Illinois Secure Choice. If you are an entrepreneur who has 5 or more employees, your employees, if this is something, a savings or retirement plan that you cannot offer your employees, they too can sign up right now with Illinois Secure Choice and begin to invest in their retirement and their savings and planning. We worked with, again, lawmakers. Our website It's not our website. It's the Illinois Secure Choice website. But I wanted to share this information with entrepreneurs and those who may have 5 or more employees, that you can look into this and see how it can be yet another offering to your community, to your staff and your employees. And I know I went through the slides rather quickly, and I'm happy to answer any questions. The next slide is just my contact information, ways in which you can volunteer. AARP.org/IL, where you can get all of this information and then some about membership, volunteering, savings and planning, and then the other fundamental areas that I mentioned earlier in my presentation. And then this is the source that I used in order to provide or create this presentation for you all today. Next slide. I'm happy to answer any questions you may have. If there are none, again, I want to thank you all for joining us via this virtual session. I'm hoping that as things open up and we're able to offer in-person meetings, that you can either email me and I can share those informations, those dates, and then also working along with the Treasurer's Office through the City of Chicago.
On behalf of the Chicago Treasurer's Office, we would like to thank Shartae Robinson for joining us today and for sharing this presentation. Hold on, we got a question in the middle. All right, what are the biggest challenges you see most retirees facing?
Thank you for that question. What we're learning is some of our retirees are considering returning back to work because some of their financial portfolio, if you will, cannot support their lifestyle post-retirement. Unfortunately, through the pandemic, there were people who lost loved ones that may impact salary or income that's coming into the home. There are people who were laid off and did not find new employment. So what we're learning is that people are really considering, once they retire, of returning back to work. And so one of the other things, as I mentioned, is that we want to be sure that even in your 30s, you're preparing for your 50 plus. You're preparing for your retirement.
All right. So thank you, Shartae, for taking that question. And again, on behalf of the Office of the Chicago Treasurer, we want to thank Shartae Robinson on behalf of AARP for her presentation today on retirement. Her contact information was shared in the PowerPoint. This presentation will be available for replay. So if you didn't get the screen with her contact information, please watch the replay and her information will be shared there as well. And here it is for take a screenshot, take a picture of the screen so that you can be able to contact her to discuss further any needs that you may have about retirement. Again, thank you for joining us on Money Smart Week. Thank you, Shartae, and thank you to our viewing audience for participating. We look forward to seeing you tomorrow as we have our new partner, Goldman Sachs, to talk about our partnership with their program. Look forward to seeing you tomorrow as we close out Money Smart Week. Have a great rest of your day, everyone.
Thank you.